I was in contact with some agents that are in the process of getting their license, and we were talking about what they should be doing as a brand new agent. So I thought it would bring them tremendous value if we could spend these 15 minutes on the call talking about the advice that you guys would give to a new agent, or advice that you wish you would have had when you started out in real estate. What are some nuggets that we can share with newer agents that are getting into the business?
What I always tell newer agents is don't ever lose sight of who you were or are when you made the decision that you were going to do this. Somewhere, you thought you had the confidence. You were like, I'm great. It's easy for me to talk to people. I'm sociable, or whatever the reasons were. Sometimes, a lot of times when we were agents, as soon as they get that license and they have to move forward, all of a sudden they lose that same confidence to talk to people. So just remember who you were before you got that license and still be that same sociable person.
Love that.
I would say have a reserve at least for 6 months to a year. Don't expect you're going to be learning while you're earning. So it's not going to be like a regular job where you're going to get paid every 2 weeks. Don't expect it. But you can get huge paychecks in 1 month. But you have to spend this first year learning and earning. And don't get discouraged if you close 1 deal or 2 deals. You learned a lot from there. All the lessons you learned, even if they're not going to be in real estate class. And get to know top brokers in your office. Be nice to them. They're going to give you opportunities to open houses, which is a great way to get your first buyers.
That's good.
Yeah, I would say, ladies first.
I would say, don't run around on the first call. I used to be that agent who, if I got a call, I would run. No pre-qualifying. I didn't even know what that was. I just would run, and not to do that because it burns you out. It's exhausting, and it's just don't be that door opener.
Yeah.
And I would say find a system that works for you to keep in contact with people and keep in contact consistently and regularly, even if it's a spreadsheet at first, but find some type of a system where you can continually follow up with someone and make sure that you remember the last time you followed up and take good notes. People will remember if you are persistent and keep on doing it.
Love it.
Yeah. I have one too. When I first started, Tracy Keene told me, Sylvia, it's a tough business. The first 2 years are going to be tough until you start establishing your clients and that kind of thing. So that I was focusing on because there were a lot of disappointments in the first year, but you got to keep on going. Forget about the drunk monkey. And then the second thing I would say is this was on our mindset call a couple of weeks ago, and establishing relationships with other realtors is extremely important. I just got my friend's fiance, their rental. The guy told me on the phone that there were 10 calls that came in, but because of all my information and I sent the couple to meet them and everything like that, that he had good vibes with me. So I was really shocked about that. I was happy, but with all the training through DRAD and coaching and KW, it all pays off in the end.
Like that. I would say, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I would say let everybody don't be a secret agent. Let everyone know that you are an agent. Contact your sphere of influence and keep in contact with them.
That's fair. I would say don't choose your company based on the commission split. Choose a company that's actually going to train you how to be a great agent.
Yeah, that's good. I was going to say, just as a new agent, I wish I had you and push in the beginning. There's no mistakes. I'm glad I whatever is happened. But for a new agent, the best thing is to connect with really good classes that connect you with other agents, and you have a really good support group. Because there were many times in my first year that I was so lost and I felt bad that I kept going to the same agent that I trusted, asking questions all the time. And eventually, like, I just started feeling bad bugging that person all the time. But I think if I was a new agent and on the morning mindset call and in push and in that conversation about scripts, I would feel so supported and get all my answers just by listening.
I like
Yeah, Patty, stop bothering Ira.
Yeah. Way.
David, a really big thing I would also say is very immediately shift from the mindset of being an employee to a business owner. No one is your boss but you. And so if you don't do it, it won't get done.
Yes. Amen.
I just have to say
live by your calendar. Make sure that everything that you need to do is booked in the calendar, or else you're going to forget to do something.
Awesome. Kathi, is that you I hear?
It's Erin.
Oh, Erin. Go ahead, Erin.
I would just say to leave your ego at the door.
Okay.
I want to jump on what I think Ira was saying, and one more. The sphere of influence in the beginning, as long with your database, I think that's the easiest way to get started because you don't want to be a secret agent. And I think that'll give the opportunity to try out these calls. That's pretty much the business relationship that will grow with you. And letting everyone know that you are an agent of the people that are easy calls in the beginning kind of gets you started having those conversations. And then also how that follow-up works. You'll see if the system works and doesn't work. And also those people will forgive you because they'll still know you, but you might lose on some deals, and then you'll learn, okay, I probably got to follow up more often. So you'll figure it out from there on. So I know that the sphere is something I still lack in, sadly, but it's something that, costs me business sometimes.
Of course. Ragini?
I have a couple things, David.
Okay.
So what I would say is that, first of all, if you were successful in your prior career or prior job, you're going to be successful in real estate, and just keep that in mind. Second thing is I would concur about getting plugged in and taking advantage of the training, and meeting with your team leader, whoever it is, to really understand what are some of the beginning trainings that are important, and getting hooked up into like Hal Bentz's class so that you really start out right. And the third thing would be your sphere of influence. Let everyone know that you've become a realtor, and just follow very simple, let them know. And then, I know in the beginning I sent text, and then I sent follow-up handwritten cards. And in a very short period of time, I actually started getting people that reached out to me. So you're building your database, and you don't even realize that you're building a database.
Awesome. I would also say protect your lead generation time at all costs. When you get that first listing, don't run up and stop doing your lead gen. You have to keep that going. You have to be consistent to keep your pipeline going. So that would be mine. Ragini, I see your hand raised. Here you go. I can't hear you though. You are talking. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Gotcha.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I would say, which I never did, and I should have done it, got it down pat, is learn your script. Learn your script, because that is going to get you from A to B quicker than anything else. I went to listing appointments, and you know what? I did lose them because I didn't know my script. And I'm going to be honest, that was my fault, and I learned a lesson from that. And I used to come to the Wyckoff office, right, and do the script practices with you, and I realized how important they were because you taught me that. And along the way, you've been a great influence with me, and I want to thank you. So I tell the new agents to go to you and say, hey, you got the best person there.
Awesome.
So utilize it.
All right. Amrita?
Hey, guys.
I would also say, go ahead.
Sorry. So I have a few things. I'll rattle them off really quickly. What worked for me in the beginning, when you don't have the business, but you need to use social media to advertise that you're in the business, I would go to open houses. I would go to a preview because I needed to understand the inventory, like the broker tours and whatnot. If I saw something that captured my attention, I'd take a picture of it, and then I'd post it on social media. I don't need to say anything about it's my listing, or I'm taking a client, or I'm doing this, or I'm not. Like, I would just be very creative in the language I used in marketing that picture. And all of a sudden people started, it was a perception, right? Perception became reality. They were all like, oh my God, you're doing like so much business because I'm always seeing your pictures. And I hadn't done shit. I was just doing what I knew how to do, which was market my brand. So that really worked for me. And I've heard a lot of successful agents do that when I've gone to Family Reunion or other places, or even other, not KW agents have said something to that effect that has worked for them. So that definitely is a very creative, you've got to get creative. The other thing I would say is, if you have the ability or capability to walk in with some funds to say, okay, I'm going to invest this money into the business, that would be a good way to start off so that you don't feel pressured that, oh my God, nothing's happening. Because if you need to allocate money to something that could work, you can do that, whether it be a push class, whether it be, like for me, I started off with some marketing I did online that worked for me. And the minute it started working, I then discontinued it because I didn't want to pay for it anymore. So sometimes you need that jump start, but I will also say, be very careful. You don't want to throw money at stuff just because you think it's going to work. I will also say, pick 2 or 3 things that are going to be your primary channels that you will focus on. Do not focus your attention on every shiny new toy that you see. So if lead gen, like Spired's going to be one, or Fizbo is going to be one, do that. If social media is going to be one, then really do it. Do it all. Like, have the Linktree link on your IG. Make sure you're posting it every other day. And it can't be just business. It's got to be personal. It's got to be advice. It's got to be you got to do it all strategically. And the last thing I'll say is have your P&L. I don't know how many agents I met up until this point who don't have a P&L and don't have a handle on their finances. Know your numbers. Where's your ROI coming from? So when you get your first sale, take 10% of that money and allocate it into your business for new business. So don't just spend it. Like, oh, I made it, I'm going to go get my Gucci bag. Take out the money for the taxes, put it where it belongs. Take out the money for 10% that you're going to reinvest, put that in. And have a true P&L. If you want to be the entrepreneur and business owner, then act like it and have the P&L, because, I don't know a lot of agents who have one, and that's shocking to me.
Yeah, that's really good. Thank you.
Can
Arlene?
I say one last thing? Oh, sorry.
I'm going to let Arlene go, then I'll come back to you. Raise your hand, Hazel, so I remember. Go ahead, Arlene.
Okay, for me, I think what I found of value in trying to help the new agents start off was actually following a routine, putting the routine in the calendar, and always make sure that you follow your calendar, whatever type of, if they're already with KW, you have command, embrace it, really start using it, follow the plan of how you're able to build a database and get your people together. Also, I think it's important to set up the free profiles across the board on any platform, whether it be Google, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, LinkedIn, multiple free access to profiles, and pick an agent that that's successful, Google their name, see where they're coming up, then Google your own town that you're in, and really learn everything that you can about a niche, and really concentrate on where you want to start and grow from there, and know what you know best. And as you go, practice on your own home. Once you learn how to do a contract, a listing presentation, do a build your buyer presentation, and then practice on your own home as if you are the buyer and you are the seller. Awesome. Just a couple of things.
Good advice. Hazel?
I would say get to know the comps, get to know your inventory, tag them online, follow up and see what they closed. You have that time to learn that, just learn the inventory. And I would say don't be discouraged if your family and friends don't refer you at first, because they don't see you as an agent yet. I expected when I got my license that everyone would be referred to me. Like, my friends would just see me as a realtor. And it just takes a while for people to actually start seeing you as a as a professional, as a realtor, as an expert. So don't get discouraged if you don't get that right away.
That's good stuff.
I second that one. Mm-hmm.
Tony?
And that's where perception comes in. Perception is reality.
That's very true. Very true.
Fake it till you make it.
My advice to all new agents is don't let this business get to you. Don't be emotional about this. It's an emotional roller coaster. Some days you're like flying high. I got the closing, and the next day, oh my gosh, it failed and it fell through. And if you get emotional about the business, it'll get to you. So I say stay passionate, but don't worry about the ups and downs. Just stay the course, and don't let the lows force you to into a place where you don't want to be.
Perfect, Tony. And I think I would say if there were like 4 or 5 book recommendations, it would be the MREA book, of course, Shift. Pete is saying read Profit First around finances. And then also Arlene's mentioned a book that really changed my life too, Arlene, Miracle Morning. And so those are some good books that you can pick up and read that will really help you in this business. The other thing, you guys know I really believe this, celebrating your wins, whether it's the first time picking up the phone, first time getting a listing, first time getting your paycheck, having something that you do to celebrate your wins, no matter how small they are. And then also your calendar. Ira was talking about putting things down on your calendar that you need to do. One thing you need to do is take care of yourself. And so I recommend time blocking time each week to do something for you. That could be going out to lunch and reading a book for a couple of hours, going to see a movie, getting a massage, getting a mani-pedi. You need to put some time on there for you and protect that time as well. Anything else?
And one other thing I would say is show up as a professional. Best foot forward at all times, because when you want to be able to get the attention of seasoned agents and learn from them, is they're going to gravitate and give time to people who are serious and are professional and show up well. So you've got to really take the initiative, because you are an independent agent and an independent contractor. You don't have a boss that's following up with you. You've got to make it happen. So stand up and make sure people see you. And that over time builds credibility, and you'll end up getting the respect of other agents. Even if you don't have a lot of experience yet, they're willing to take you under their wing because they know that you'll show up and that you'll do your part.
Perfect.
I would also say learn the administration part of it, but don't get caught up in it. Quickly try, once you start with real estate, find someone to do contract to close. Because when you get caught up in the administration part of it, you lose sight of prospecting. You don't have time to do a lot of that stuff because you're so focused on the administration part of it.
Okay. Real talk.
Can I say something? Hi.
Tara, let me have you hold on one quick second. I'm
okay.
Pete in. He had his hand raised. I'll come right to you. Go ahead, Pete.
No problem.
Actually, perfect that Tara's talking next because video.
Hi, Steven.
Hey, what's up?
Get comfortable with video. Get comfortable with getting yourself in front of a camera and doing videos on social media. And then just another cool activity for newer agents getting familiar with the market is practice CMAs. When you see something in your market that comes onto the market, pull some other comparable properties. Start getting familiar with evaluating how they determine that price, if you think that it will sell for that price. And then even write a little note. Say, hey, I think this house will sell for that. Add it to a watch list and see if you're right.
Awesome. Tara?
No, I was just going to say, based on what Arlene had said, and also for me, I'm having a very hard time, like you said, make time for yourself. I'm having a very hard time, separating everything now that things are actually happening for me. But I took David's advice and had Catherine do my listing paperwork. And it just gave me a little bit more time to, one, pay attention to my kids, because most of the time, my phone, my computer, everything's in front of me. So, to Arlene's point, it definitely gave me a little more time to pay attention to everyone else in my house.
That's awesome.
So, and it was at first I was like, it's my first listing. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. But I have so many buyers that I've started to feel very overwhelmed and guilty. So I was like, you know what? Screw it. Catherine, do it. So.
Good for you. Do it for everyone moving forward. Good for you. Good job.
Thanks.
Anything else?
I have one last thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Don't be mistaken. It's a very small world of realtors.
Ooh.
Do not burn a bridge. If somebody else does something wrong, you be the professional. I can't tell you how many times, and I learned this lesson one time the hard way, where I had to cancel the appointment. It was like a $2 million house with a buyer. The buyer changed their mind. Instead of the agent the truth, I felt ashamed and said it would reflect poorly on me. And I said to her, you know what? They had an emergency. We're not going to be able to make it. I'll let you know when we reschedule. That agent found out that we went out with that buyer. Not good, because that's going to take such a long time for me to change that. And so be honest. And, there are going to be definitely situations where you're going to be challenged to be uncomfortable because you have to tell another agent something. And if the other agent is being unprofessional, you need to remain professional.
Great. Okay.
One more thing I would also say is don't compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 2. Okay. So everyone has their own journey, and so you just have to stay your own course. Keep your eyes on your own paper. Run your own race.
That's it. Tara?
I want to just quickly talk about smart plans because Raj and I had a little smart plan win.
Yeah.
At an open house that Raj and I had worked. I don't know, Raj, when was it? December?
January.
January? Okay. So I've probably been annoying with my smart plans, but that's okay. Because I have them all set up and, any holiday, I've been blasting out texts or emails. So this one guy that came to our open house in January, we thought for sure, like, oh yeah, he's going to buy with us. He was ready to go. He was with his girlfriend, so on and so forth. I kept following up, calling him. Crickets, of course. No response to anything. So then on the 4th of July, I had my 4th of July smart plan all set up. And actually, I probably got about 20 replies back, more so than I have ever gotten from random, whether it was Facebook campaigns, people from Facebook campaigns, open houses. So this guy responded back. He's like, hi, so sorry I disappeared. I got busy with work. The truth really came out when we met with him. I got busy with work and, I want to see these homes. Responded to him right away. Fast forward to, I guess, Wednesday, Raj and I went out with him, and Raj started with him because I was out with other buyers before that, and I met up with them. And he had said he was actually working with a friend who is an agent, and he said I told Raj that I was constantly sending him emails, sending him texts, and finally he was like, when he got that text on 4th of July, he was like, she's texting me on 4th of July. My friend's at the beach. This is the type of agent I want.
And that was the funny part of it because
we're sitting there texting every single one individually.
He's like that because I first met him, and this is 6 months later, no response, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Again. And he's like, so I'm like, if she's at home writing these texts wishing me happy 4th of July, and my current agent's at the beach, I know, but that's what we do. We that's exactly what we do. And so that aggressiveness, he's like, that's what I need in an agent.
Mm-hmm. And that's the second time, and I'm so not pushy, but that's the second time in this week that someone has said your persistence and drive. I appreciate that and like it, and that's what I want to work with. So, point being, do the smart plans.
Love it.
One piece of
I have another one, David.
Okay. Advice I would give you guys is make sure he signs a I was going to say one piece of advice is make sure he signs the buyer's agency agreement, only because you guys are going to find him a house and he's going to buy it with his friend.
I said that to Raj that day. I go, this guy, I'm sitting here listening to things he's saying. He left. I'm like, Raj, we have to have him when we sit down do the buyer's consult, sign that agreement.
Yep.
Like talking like the guilt of what he was doing with us, like he was like cheating on this other agent, and he was constantly bringing her up. He's like for example, she did this. It was like telling you about an ex, and I'm like, oh, okay, I get it, but it's still like he's trying to resolve whether that's the right thing to do, like going behind her back, because they have a lot of friends in common.
Gotcha. Amrita, go ahead.
So 2 things. One thing that I think that works really well if you do the buyer's consult to get them to sign, because people feel apprehensive on doing it. I heard one of the agents say that they would basically walk through every document, like the CIS, the dual agency, the fraud, and you leave the signing one, the agency agreement as the last document. So like they've already signed 3 documents when they get to that 4th one. And all you're doing is just, this is what this is, no big deal. This is just explains what this is. This is just explains what this is. And it becomes easier because it's like you're already on that mindset that we're signing documents, we're good. And I wouldn't, perception is everything. Like if you feel uncomfortable about asking them to sign something, they're going to sense that and feel uncomfortable about signing it. So if you create it very nonchalantly, that's how they're going to perceive it. So that just reminded me of that. But the original thing I was going to say was, when you get a referral, have a system in which you can reward your referrals. You can start off small if your budget doesn't allow for it. So, for example, when I get a referral, I give a $25 gift card. Initially, I was like, oh, what if, I don't get the lead? They said they're going to call, so I didn't do it. But now, whether I get the call or not, if somebody says to me, I gave your name and number to so-and-so to call you, automatically they get the referral. I don't care whether they call me or not. And then I call them and I say, hey, by the way, I never heard from your friend, but let them know whenever they're ready, I'm here. If you want me to reach out, I'll reach out. And they have this guilt thing, like I gave them $25, they'll do an extra effort. And then when they close, give them a heftier referral. Give them like a $100 gift card, give them a gift that they want, reward the behavior that you want them to do. And if they're really your advocates, that's what you need to do is in your CRM, identify those A+s or A++ or whoever those superstars are. I have one guy who's given me 6 deals in the last 3 years. 6. He gets the pie, he gets the donuts, if I'm doing anything, he's on my list.
Of course. Okay, that's good stuff. And so what I hear you guys saying is have standards in your business, Tara and Raj. You don't take a buyer out unless the buyer rep agreement signed. We have to have certain standards that no matter what, across the boards, that's signed with everyone. Even if it's for one house, it might not be for a length of time. It might be for this particular property. I'm showing you this property. You're signing an agreement for this particular home.